So, what if you could actually change your brain's relationship with stress? I mean, not just manage it, but really end its chronic hold on you for good. Well, today we're diving into a science backed 4 step method from the book The End of Stress that shows us exactly how to do that. Okay, first things first, we have to get our heads around the core problem. See, from a brain's point of view, there's not much difference between a real physical threat, like a lion, and a modern psychological one, like a nasty email from your boss. Your brain triggers the same ancient life or death survival response for both. And that's the key, because it means our bodies are just constantly getting flooded with stress hormones over things that aren't actually going to kill us. And this whole process, it actually has a name: neural hijacking. Basically, your amygdala, which is kind of like your brain's smoke detector, it takes over. It gets stuck in this overactive emergency mode. But here's the most important part to get: stress becomes a habit. Every single time you react with anxiety, you're actually strengthening that pathway in your brain, making it that much easier to get hijacked the next time around.
So the big question is, how do we stop this hijacking and take back control of our own brains? Well, this whole explainer is built around a really clear 4-step roadmap. First, the power of awareness. Second, refocusing your thinking. Third, reconditioning for calm. And finally, number 4, embodying a new way of life. Let's jump in with step 1.
Step 1 is all about something called the conscious pause. And this isn't about fighting stress, no. It's about awakening what the book calls the observing mind. So here's the crucial insight. Your first move isn't to immediately fix or get rid of that feeling of stress. It's just to see it, to become aware of it right as it's happening. Because the very act of noticing, of shining a spotlight on that stress response, starts to dissolve its power. Why? Well, because you shift from being a victim of the reaction to being an observer of it. And that changes everything.
And there's a super simple technique to do this. It's called the conscious pause. So next time you feel that stress starting to rise, first, just stop for a few seconds. Then take 2 or 3 really deep breaths. This literally sends a safety signal to your brain. Next, just notice the feeling without fighting it. Where is it in your body? And finally, just say to yourself, I am noticing this now. That simple phrase is what shifts you into that powerful observer role.
Now, this isn't just some mental trick. It's a real neurological event. When you do the conscious pause, you're literally shifting energy and blood flow away from that reactive amygdala, your primitive jungle mind, and you're redirecting it to your prefrontal cortex. That's your center for rational thought and control. You're basically grabbing the steering wheel back from the panicking part of your brain. All right, now for step 2. So once we can see our stress, the next move is to actively steer our thoughts away from those negative spirals that just feed the fire. This is all about shifting to gratitude and literally rewriting your inner story. And this idea is a total game changer. The stress doesn't actually come from the angry email. No, it comes from the story your brain instantly makes up about it. Oh no, I'm going to get fired, or this means I'm a failure. See, our brains are wired with a negativity bias. It's an old evolutionary setting to help us spot danger. But the good news is we can consciously choose to tell a different, more helpful story. This quote right here gets to the heart of the neurological off switch for stress. Think about it. You physically cannot feel grateful and stressed at the exact same time. It's impossible. Why? Because gratitude releases positive neurochemicals like dopamine and serotonin, and they actively cancel out the stress hormone cortisol. It's kind of like turning on a bright light in a pitch dark room. So how do you actually put this into practice? It's simple. The moment you use your conscious pause to notice the stress, immediately ask yourself this question. And it can be anything, really. The coffee you're drinking, the fact that you're healthy, a project you're proud of. Just finding one thing is enough to shift your brain chemistry and start shutting down those stress circuits. Okay, step 3. This is where we move from just reacting in the moment to proactively training our brain for the future. This is all about reconditioning the brain. Think of it like a workout for your mind to build new, permanent pathways for calm. This is all based on the amazing science of neuroplasticity. Your brain can and does change based on your thoughts. Every time you react with stress, you're digging that anxious pathway a little bit deeper. But every time you consciously choose a calm thought, you're starting to build a new pathway. It's just like creating a new trail in a forest. The more you walk it, the easier and more automatic it becomes. So here are 2 really powerful exercises for this reconditioning. First, there's positive visualization.
Your brain, amazingly, doesn't really know the difference between a real experience and one you vividly imagine. So, by mentally rehearsing, say, a difficult meeting going perfectly well, you are literally pre-paving the neural pathways for calm. Second, you can rewrite the story. Look at a negative event from your past and reframe it. See it as a lesson that gave you strength. This actually changes its emotional weight in your memory.
And that brings us to the final step. Step 4, embodying lasting calm. This is about taking all these practices and integrating them so that peace and calm become your brain's new normal, its default setting, not just something you have to desperately fight for in a crisis. Yeah, let's be really clear about the ultimate goal here. We are trying to move way beyond stress management. The real aim is to rewire your brain so fundamentally that your automatic go-to state is one of quiet intelligence. That place where you're effective, you're focused, and you're present, all without that low-level hum of anxiety in the background. So, how do we make this permanent? It comes down to 2 key habits. First, constantly bring yourself back to the present moment. See, stress can't survive in the now. It lives on regrets about the past or worries about the future. Simply bringing your attention back to your breath or to the sounds around you starves anxiety of its fuel. And second, build a daily calm routine. Consistency is everything here. 5 minutes of meditation, a few moments of gratitude, these small daily reps are what create that lasting neurological change.
Let's wrap this all up into a simple toolkit. For awareness, your go-to tool is the conscious pause. To refocus, you use the gratitude shift. For reconditioning, it's all about visualization and reframing. And to make it all stick, you build a daily habit of presence and routine. See how each step builds on the last? It's a complete system for change. Ultimately, the most powerful message from the book is this. The power to end chronic stress, it doesn't come from fixing every single problem in the outside world. It's an internal skill. It comes from fundamentally changing the way your brain sees and responds to the world. And that really just leaves us with one final thought. This isn't just some interesting theory. It's a practical skill you can learn. So, what's one small step you can take right now, today, to begin this journey for yourself? Maybe it's trying the conscious pause just once, or finding one tiny thing to be grateful for. The whole journey really does start with that single choice.